folks. Looks like the day's winding down, but thank you for coming nonetheless. Huge audience, you know, really. So today what we're going to cover is we're going to run through a process that we've been working on for a while called growth-oriented design. All right, peace out. Why we believe that this framework should sit really at the heart of any product strategy. So first, a bit of background about myself. My name is Jacek Grebski, and I am a founding partner of a company called Swarm. We provide growth and growth design services to companies on an ongoing basis. Prior to this, I was Chief Marketing Officer for a cloud-based data visualization platform called CardoDB, and have been consulting in the growth space since about 2008. Now, a lot of the insight here comes from that experience, as well as the data that we've collected throughout the course of my career across all these years. So, you may ask yourself, what is this growth-oriented design? What does it exactly mean? We found that employing this method time and again has led to achieving much higher numbers in attaining really any goal or objective that you want. So what it is, it's a methodology, and it's a way of thinking that sits at the crossroads of brand, strategic objectives or goals, experience, and marketing. So let's quickly jump and identify how each one of these reinforces another and how all of them come together to create this thing known as growth-oriented design. So we start off with brand. Brand is the distinct foundation for the actions that define your growth-oriented design processes. It sets the mood. It acts as the point of reference for everything that we do. It reinforces the mission and vision of your product and your company, and it speaks and it transcends culture between you and your constituents or your users. It is what establishes the relationship between you and the customer. And here are a few brands. They're all Swarms. They're all the same, but each one is very different and very distinct. There are different ways in which we can represent the same information. So let me ask you, what do we see here? How are they different? What's this one speak to you? Andrew? This one. So what's this brand speak to you? Say to you. Correct. This is an architectural and engineering firm. What do we think this one is? It's a creative agency based out of the UK. We know the one in the bottom, do we? That's Foursquare's Swarm app. The one on the upper right, it's a sports team. It's very active, it's very engaging, it's very loud, it's fierceful. And then the one on the bottom right, I really have no idea what that is. It's not designed very well, but it still is a Swarm. So we're going to jump into a couple of these, and we're going to start with ours. We decided to create this, to create our voice, which is, it's loud, it's vocal, but it's not loud. It's noticeable, it's meant to stand out, and the capitalization does this when you're writing it in the context of a sentence with the brand guidelines. When you have a word that's all capitalized, it stands out, it screams. It's kind of like yelling on the internet, but without yelling. And it's stylized, it's clean, it's modern, with just slight hints of vintage, which is what the typeface is meant to kind of instill in the way that you see it. And now let's jump into Foursquare Swarm. It's young, it's playful, a bit whimsical. It's almost childish, but not in a bad way. It's childish in a way that you can see it being in a Saturday morning cartoon. It's easily embraceable. It's something that you want to play with. It's sophisticated and very highly stylized as well. So you can see that it follows this pattern of it being brought together. And and interconnected. And we see that that is also reinforced in the brand and in the product itself. We see it's young, you have these little icons, it's playful, and make connections because it is, again, a social application. So when you're thinking about your product and instilling this, brand is the foundation for all your design and all your marketing and all your goals. It is the one layer that connects you to your customer. Next up, goals, our objectives. These are varied. They can come from very early stages to a later stage. It could be something as simple as understanding the core of your user, wanting to grow your user base, perhaps converting that user base into sales, maybe moving that user base internationally. And when we talk about design, this part is extremely important. Design is cultural. What works in the United States will probably not work in Japan, may not work in Nairobi, may not work in Brazil. Or whether it's sustaining growth because you want to exit your product and you want to flip it for a couple of cool mil. But there's one thing that each one of these goals is. It's you're only at any given point in time focusing on achieving one thing. And the reason for that is that it keeps us centered, it keeps us focused, and more importantly, it does not decrease the amount of resources we're able to associate or apply to this one objective with one goal. It doesn't mean you can't try new things. By all means, do try new things, but try these new things underneath this one objective, this one goal. If it is to grow your user base, experiment with it. If it's to increase or sustain growth, play around with it. If it's to move into new markets, try to. But it's always that one objective. And the reason for this thinking comes from how CEOs of larger organizations run those companies. Any CEO will have one thing that they want to accomplish in a year. And that's the one thing that they lobby for consistently and that they drive in and try to do. Because these are huge organizations. While yours might be smaller, while your project team might be smaller, and while you may not need a year to accomplish your objective, focusing on only one will time and again mean that you will be successful because all your resources will work to support that goal. And then we come to experience. I don't know if any of you here or necessarily saw my business partner Valerie's talk yesterday, but she really discussed how the experience transcends just the application and really is at every single touch point of the customer journey. So it starts with the moment that somebody sees your app, whether they read about it in TechCrunch, whether they see it in the New York Times, whether it's an ad on the street, or whether just somebody tells them. That's the moment that the experience between you and your customer begins. It then moves on to how they interact with the product. This is a physical layer between you and the application. But more so just that product, it's also how it extends to wearables and how it extends to secondary and peripheral devices. And then it's the follow-through behavior after they've stopped using your product. Because all of these are consistently being reinforced by your brand and how the user experience relates to brand, relates to you, across the customer journey as a whole. So why is this user experience important? I mean, you've heard, I don't know if you've heard the talk, the discussion about moving into the experience economy, but we're definitely there. Word of mouth is everything. It is hands down the most important marketing tool that any of us have. So, maybe somebody played around with something like, oh my God, that was amazing. I can't wait. You gotta try this. It was the dopest app I've ever played. It got me X. Or, oh my God, dude, that app that was been written about everywhere, it fucking sucks. I never want to use it, dude. You should just delete it. And honestly, you should be even so lucky that people mention it if you're a new product. But did you hear about the product? Word of mouth is everything. And 95% of the people who had a shitty experience, they shared that shitty experience, compared to 87 who shared a good experience. Now, we may think that 8% isn't a very big difference, but here's the rub. People who have bad experiences not only share them more often, but they share them in more places. So that negative user experience that they have and that they associate with your product will be empirically greater than what would have happened if it was excellent. In short, your experience defines brand, which then the user experience then should define your marketing goals, it should support your objectives, and in short, don't fuck it up. So now we move into marketing, right? And you may be thinking to yourself, why the hell am we in a design talk and they're talking about marketing, right? This is an Android developer conference. Marketing, I think, has nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do with design. This guy's smoking crack in an alley. Well, what marketing does, and when it reinforces your brand and it reinforces your objectives and your goals, it decreases the time for you to scale or to reach that specific objective. It is a tool. It's a helper tool. Again, marketing happens at every touch point, and it reinforces brand. And that's Russell Brand, for those of you who don't know. He's an English comedian, so I just figured it'd be funny. Didn't get a joke. Kind of upset about that. What? Okay, well, he's English. The other guy was Argentinian, Cuban, something. They're all communist. America. So, but with marketing, right? We know this kind of, we hear this, don't, use data for everything. Don't shoot from the hip, collect data on your user behavior patterns, right? We've all been exposed to, to these tools. They're phenomenal tools to implement within an application itself to see how your users react to it. That helps you then augment the user experience, which is that layer between them and your device. But what we're not really talking about, and what we're not using, is collecting data on absolutely everything. This is outside of the application. This is collecting data on your Twitter interactions. This is collecting data on what emails are most read, what subject lines work. And not only those, but how those emails are structured and what people share, how they share it. What cohorts are being used in your app? What cohorts within your application are more engaged than others? Because this lets us know who is our user. And even when you're talking about a potential install base of 20 to 40 million, those cohorts become even more important. And what value it is that they derive from your product. Product. So we all know that based on this data we collect, we apply that towards information architecture within our applications and within our products. But what we don't do is apply information architecture in the context of our marketing systems. By doing this, we're able to map out what functions and what functions work and what functions don't work, and then design according to those functions. So whether you're sharing, whether you're employing your marketing tactics on Facebook, or whether you're doing it on Facebook, that design is a constant. It touches every point because your user experience is designed from the moment they see the product to the moment they leave, to the moment they hopefully do not delete it off their phone, and ideally the moment they put it on their home screen, or if it's a widget, if you can get that, you're golden. But again, the customer journey should be designed from the entire process prior to you launching it, and every step tested and iterated on. Design is a constant, whether it's in your content, whether it's in social, as I mentioned, on Facebook, Twitter, whatever, whether it's how you structure your emails visually as well. It is in your product, and how you automate your low-level marketing tasks. Just because they're low-level does not mean they shouldn't be designed. Every single thing should always reinforce your brand. And finally, and most importantly, be creative. at any point in time assume that everybody has the same access to the tools that you do, because they do. And the differentiating factor between you and them is your creativity. Creativity can be taught like anything else. As Nike would say, just fucking do it. The more you do it, the better at it you get. And always, in every operation and every action that you do along every one of these processes, reinforce brand. Nike, just do it. We all know that. That brand has been reinforced in our heads so many times that it is now a part of us and our culture and the way that we function. If you can get people to associate that heavily with your brand, you're good to go. But so, growth-oriented design. At the service, and this really is a surface, because when I found out I was speaking here, I got to thinking, how is it that I'm going to put all these things that are so deeply embedded in the way that we work with clients and in the way that we build out our own products into a short 35-minute talk? I didn't know. What I believe I managed to do, and you guys tell me, is really touch the surface of growth-oriented design. But as a framework, when you leave here, what I'd like for you to take away is, think about it this way. Whatever you are in the customer journey and the product journey, you set your goals, you identify your goals, and you stick with only one goal. You see how that goal will impact brand and how that brand will then reference your objectives. You apply user experience to it along the entire customer path, because you're going to be getting new customers, you're going to be losing customers. Ideally, you want to optimize for losing them, for less loss. And then you apply marketing to support all of these functions together. If you manage to pull it off, you'll see this. It'll move up. Whatever you want, your goals will be achieved and you'll move up. Statistically, we've seen that our engagements, when we employ this, will, on average, double time to achieving an objective, or double objectives, as opposed to kind of just haphazardly throwing things one at another. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Jacek Repski. I'm here for any questions. And, ping me later or now or whatever. Yeah, in the back. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. It's super loud.
Asking if you should pull all your resources to one product.
Give me an example of what product. Because if you have a company that has many products, right, and you can separate. So for example, Facebook Messenger has a Facebook app. So the team that's working on the Facebook app, at any point in time, they should be working towards achieving one specific objective or one specific goal. Now, with the more resources you have, you're able to do that more quickly, just based on economies of scale. But yes.
How can you keep your product from being economy or reverse engineering?
Honestly, don't worry about that. People will reverse engineer everything. DRM is a really phenomenal example of that. They try to keep things away, and then 2 days later it's on Pirate Bay, reverse engineered. So you're kind of just wasting your resources if you want to do that. What it comes down to is your brand and the user experience. If somebody copies your product and their user experience is shitty, they're not going to use it. They will use you because it's a better user experience. At the end of the day, that's what wins.
But you said user experience is cultural. How can you make it
universal? We as humans have across the world some very have consistencies. It's the idiosyncrasies which are different. So, the Facebook app, for example, in where is it? In China, where you have that little globe up there. The globe is actually set on Asia as opposed to it being set on North America as it is here. So think about your user and where they are. And for your Facebook app that gets downloaded in the Arab world should read from right to left as opposed to left to right. Localizations that you can deploy to do this. Anyone else? All right. Well, that was a 20-minute talk. Do you guys have any questions? Ping me, ask me. Oh yeah.
I got one. We just made our logo. I think we're going to be switching to a new logo pretty time soon. But is it okay to still get out there and show our logo that we have now? Is there anything? Will that work against us down the road?
If you don't have extremely large user acceptance, then don't worry about it. And test against it too. Just send it out into market.
Yeah.
See which one people like, and ask what kind of emotion they have with it, because that's very important. And also look at the culture of your team and how you work, and whether or not the culture is represented in the logo as well.
Can you elaborate on the types of emotions that maybe I should look out for?
I mean, how?
Can you go back to the slide?
Yeah. Or actually, I could just pull up your logo if you want. We can critique it.
Buy me by. At buy me by.
Sorry. At least there's no porn on here, right? Buy me by?
Yeah, B-U-Y-M-E-P-Y.
This one? This one?
We're not seeing it.
Oh shit, sorry.
Yeah,
Oh God, and you know what?
Yeah.
I swear to God, I didn't even see that woman on my screen. It happens all the time. It is so inappropriate. I apologize.
I want her number.
It's 555-1212. So this?
Yeah, that's us. We came up with that over a weekend during a hackathon.
Okay, and so what was the initial feeling behind it?
We didn't get into it too much. We literally came up with it. We built the app and then had our designer kind of take care of that within 2 days. We didn't put too much crazy thought behind it, and we just wanted something there for a weekend. But that's what we have now, and then we're working on something new. So we're still kind of in the talks of where we should go with our logo and our branding. But we wanted to be, I guess, kind of hip.
Okay. So this is my partner in the company, Valerie. She tends to do this better than I do.
Okay.
So I'm gonna come on.
Yep. What's your market?
We're in a grocery store space. We're a green tech startup.
Okay. And your market concern would be?
I'm sorry?
What is your market concern about? What are their values?
She's asking whether or not he's concerned with the market being green, and what the values of the customer base are.
Pretty much, they're deal hunters. We're going to be deal hunters because we're offering food at a discount as it goes expired.
So they're deal hunters, but are they deal hunters for a specific subset or a specific market niche?
No, just groceries.
Just all groceries.
Perishables.
Perishables. Okay. So why did you choose the name Buy Me Buy?
Because it's kind of like the expiration dates. You have use by, sell by, buy me buy. We're selling these products at a discount as they get near expiration.
Okay, cool. Actually, I like that.
Thank you very much.
In terms of just colors.
Yeah.
So the blue and the white. Here, the other ones. Well, whatever. So the other ones tend to stand out a little bit more, right? The blue against the white. Just the way that coloristically it's speaking. This is kind of blends in. It doesn't have the same pop out and the same jump as these other two. What? Yeah, can you do this? She's a lot better at this.
All right.
All right, so you create, basically just look at it as an object in negative space. You created this shape, and there's a real awkwardness here. It's not a big deal, but you have this area right here, and you can use it, and even by maybe having a shape, maybe having a shape in negative space can somehow constrain it. And then consider your logo on the logo wall, a lot of other competitors within the space, and then see how you stand out and whether it makes sense for your users. My main concern is that as soon as somebody sees this brand, they're not going to know what it's about when it's not in context. And so that's going to be your major issue. But overall, it looks modern.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I'm the strategy guy. I'm the strategy partner. She's the design partner. And she's loads better at this than I am. I can talk to you about marketing all day.
Awesome. Appreciate the feedback. Thank you guys so much.
Anyone else want to throw something up there for critique? Anything of that sort? Yes.
I just walked in, but yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so I have a creative agency basically where we specialize in cinematography and pretty much a little bit of design through our partners. I just wanted to know like if you can understand what we stand for by going on our Twitter.
Okay. So she has a creative agency focused on film,
Yeah.
on video,
Yeah, video.
on video creation, and you would like to know whether.
If you can pretty much get that feel from just our presence online.
Okay. What's your Twitter?
It's F3Ls.
F3.
3 L's. So it's like FLLL.
Oh. Oops.
And then MATIC.
Like that. Cool.
Yeah.
So my first thing is, if I landed here, you're a generation of young entrepreneurs, which makes you think you're some kind of, I don't know, meetup group, as opposed to we're a young agency that does film. Just be very overt about it. You know, I mean, people, it's Twitter. Our attention spans are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. You know, like seriously, if I don't get what I need out of a website in less than a second, I'm bouncing. So number one. I mean, there's a lot of photography, so with your entrepreneurs, I guess maybe I don't see how that really relates to film or video as a whole. I guess, you know, maybe having like a red in there or like running around with an SLR while somebody's, you know, whatever with like a boom mic would potentially help communicate that.
What do you want to communicate?
It's actually a mixture of both. We want to connect with other creatives as well because we have people that we know and partners that we can refer them to as far as jobs and stuff. But we also want brands to know that we're like a fresh new company, that we know how to do videos that not only speak to your customers, but they also can help show who you are as a brand. So that's pretty much what we convey. And I think on our Instagram, we do a better job with that because it's more videos, more 15 seconds. That's kind of like our little claim to fame, I guess. We try to do 15-second videos to help people say it fast. Like if you wanted to check the Instagram, you can click on that link there, and you can see some of the videos that we posted.
Real quick, on your Twitter page,
Yes.
you have a lot of photos for like people. You said you want brands to know that you can convey their message. And so looking at that, I don't see any like brand highlighting and like endorsing is not what you're going for, but just looking at this, it's more like I would think you're good at photographing like social events or something like this, rather than like
focus on the brands, and then anyone else who wants to work with you, those people are going to come to you anyway. It's not hard to find creative people who are
Yeah.
Valerie, this is why we work together. I do agree with you. Follow the money.
Follow the money. That's pretty much what we're trying to do now. Yeah, so that picture actually is like part of that you pressed on the Instagram. That was just something that we just put there. Oh, you see, that was the one that we made yesterday. It was just like a time lapse of the Droidcon going on. We have little music or whatever. So that's the type of stuff that we post on our Instagram. Type of videos that we. But yeah, so that's pretty much.
And also focus your marketing on your demographic. Focus your demographic into using Instagram, finding it that way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, who's your customer?
Like customer. We have like startups right now, but also like magazines. We've also worked with like beauty brands. We've worked with Yelp. That's pretty much our customers. That's the brands that we want to know. That's it.
So those are very, very different verticals. Which one of those do you believe is where the money is, where the most, well, so going back to, what we talked about, what is your one objective that you want to accomplish? And just one, not two, not three, not five, just one.
Okay. Well, one is to make the money, but the biggest one is to pretty much bring the art of film and eye to big brands. Because I feel like a lot of times they use commercials that are just like really cheesy and they don't connect to the consumer. So we're trying to bring that creative aspect to the consumer, I guess, marketing.
Okay, so you would say that that's your vision, that your vision for this company is to one day have brands utilize this type of video format to advertise their products, right? So and then your mission is.
Well, it changed in like the last week,
So what's the new one?
So it's pretty much to help brands build online presence.
To what?
Help brands build an online presence through video.
So you've got two very different you've got a dichotomy there, right? And you're kind of breaking out from where you are now. One is your vision is to help these big brands do X, right? To advertise. But then two is to help them with get an online presence. So I'm just stabbing at the air here, but I do believe that Unilever has a web presence, or that Coca-Cola has a web presence already, and that they're throwing a lot of money behind all kind of a lot of the different marketing channels, or if not all the marketing channels that are digital. So what I would recommend is have a think on who is your ideal customer now, how to maximize your reach for that customer. It should be low friction and high volume so you can get the numbers there and potentially start converting them, because no runway, no food, no money.
Right.
Hi mom, what's up? Can I move in for a couple months while I get a job? And once you get that down and you have that revenue stream, kind of expand on that, and then and then really start thinking what the next step is. Because who is accessible? I don't believe that Coca-Cola is accessible to you right now. And if they are, that's awesome. But maybe the startup is accessible to you, or maybe the stores that have presences on Yelp are, kind of on the ground. So I also imagine that the videos that you're doing are at a much lower entry point in terms of cost than getting a full production company to come in and shoot a minute spot.
Yeah.
So consider that, and And shit, good luck.
Thank you. Thanks.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming. Hit me up if you want. And when you leave, there's a startup bus table outside. You should go and ask about startup bus and sign up for it for next year in 2015. Thank you.